Game one. Let's go, boys. Roll it up.
What's up, my family? Listen, first-time listener, or you've been here the whole damn time. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, giddy up, let's go, no notes.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the f*** are you talking about?
What's going on, fam? Guys, exciting day, particularly coming off of a pretty terrible weekend. I'm not going to lie. NLCS Game 1 here live in Philadelphia. Philadelphia Phillies hosting the Arizona Diamondbacks. I am Chrome here to sit and have a wonderful conversation about baseball with these two fine gentlemen, Mr. Mitch Williams, Tom Arnone. This is Here's the Thing on A2D Radio, and we're brought to you by Royal Billiards, the premier game room store of the Delaware Valley. They are stocked with all of your pool table accessories, dartboards, shuffleboards, bar supplies, and hot tubs too. So guess what? You let them know A2D sent you. Stop at their physical location, 515 Bethlehem Pike in Colmore, Pennsylvania. Or you can check them on the web, royalbilliard.com. And by the way, if you're in the area, Tom, I believe this week, right? We got vetted this week with Mitch, or with Louise. Hollis, we got Mitch up here. We got Hollis Thomas, Irving Fryer doing their show Vetted Live. And if you were out there this week at Carlino's, who we're going to show a little love to a little bit later today, well, great, wonderful food. Wonderful host this week. So they're getting back out amongst the people again. Go stop at Royal Billiards and check them out. Check them out and watch the show live. Maybe you could even pop on and ask them a question.
Told you, House will sign everything for you. No, I'm just kidding.
They do. Hey,
they do. They're the best. They're the best. I mean, that's why I can say, because they will. They're the best out and about. Nobody better.
Hollis is good people.
Yeah, he is.
Hollis and Irv this week, and just for everybody, phenomenal show. I was there. The way they talk to everybody, and I mean everybody. It was such a great experience for people who got to sit and watch them do a live show, interact with them after, get their stuff signed, take pictures, and guess what? You could do it again this week over at 515 Bethlehem Pike in Colmer at Royal Billiards. Guys, it's time to get into baseball. Man,
Yes, sir.
We needed this. I think we really need this now after what happened yesterday with the Philadelphia Eagles. But our opening topic of conversation, our first pitch, if you will, the Phillies will beat the Diamondbacks in the NLCS to represent the National League in the World Series. Agree, disagree. And for everybody out there on Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitter, whatever it's called this week, Instagram, wherever you're at, wherever you check us out, please comment in, like, subscribe, follow, share with your friends. Word of mouth, get us out there. And let's talk some Phillies baseball. Really exciting time. Mitch, let's roll it out, buddy. How you feeling going into this series for the Philadelphia Phillies?
Well, I'm going to say this. I think the Phillies will end up in the World Series, but it ain't going to be a cakewalk. That Diamondbacks team has the two things that make a baseball team dangerous: youth and confidence. They went into L.A. and stomped a mud hole in their ass and walked it dry. That's the kind of team this Arizona team is. They're not about to just roll over because they're playing the Phillies.
Tom?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree to the poll. How can you not? The Phillies are going back to the World Series for sure. But, I think this is a 7-gamer. And people look at me like I'm crazy, but they got the pitching staff, right, which is the other big factors, right? When you got two guys that you can throw that can keep lineups in check like they do, right, it makes it hard, right? And we know about their lineup. We know about our history playing in Arizona. Hasn't been a place we fared well either. Now, all that goes out the window, obviously, when it becomes postseason time for obvious reasons. Tonight's the game. I mean, tonight's the series, the game, however you want to say it. And I know it's a long series, so you're going to say, well, Tom, you're overreacting to game one. The last thing you want to do is let them feel like they can play here. The second they feel like they can play here, watch out. Now all bets are off. Home field advantage is out the window, and the last thing you don't want them to do is steal home field advantage. So when you got our ace on the mound, they got their ace on the mound. Our boy Gals, we love Gals, right? But how about 7 innings, 2 runs, you lead the game in a 2-2 game, you get a no decision, Phillies win. But tonight's the night. Tonight's the game you have to take. You have to take game one, and you have to make them feel like, man, this is a place they don't want to play in. Got to. So I'll agree.
Yep, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. And the one thing about this team too, right, boys? This team can rake. They get hot, and you talk about guys on that team like Ketel Marte, who I think is an incredibly underrated player. When you talk about Corbin Carroll, who I think we all kind of laughed that Major League Baseball is the one sport a guy like him. Any other sport, you know what I mean? He's a superstar player in Major League Baseball, brother. You know what I mean? They're a really good lineup. It's a good lineup. They have two legitimate bona fide aces that can go out there and that can, they need 4 starts out of them. Maybe can steal one from somebody else. Again, like to your point, Tom, game one is pivotal because this is a tone setter. And the fact that they have a righty on the mound as well in Gallen. It's going to be interesting with Zac Gallen, being that he's from here, from Summerdale, right? Yep. A lot of your big bats in this lineup are left-handed. So depending on how he harnesses his emotions, coming home, pitching a game one in a league championship series, you may have a chance. He might be a little amped up and have a chance to jump on him early. I would look, if I'm Schwarber, man, I'm looking fastball early. I'm looking to set the tone right away. And this could be one of those games. Yeah, this could be one of those games. I said it before, but I really feel like this could be one of those games. Kyle Schwarber kind of comes out and sets the tone with a long bomb. I'm not counting on it. But I think the first 1 or 2 innings, they got to scrape a run or two across and just set a tone of, it's not going to be, you're not going to run through the lineup.
Welcome to the jungle. I mean, that's what it's got to be. It's got to be a welcome to the jungle moment.
Game one is a game that this team is extremely confident right now. You don't want them to keep banking confidence. And if they get a game one win in Philly, that's just going to add to their confidence. And like I said, that's dangerous. Youth and confidence is the most dangerous thing in baseball.
I agree. You know what, though, to what you guys said earlier, playing in Arizona, playing in Los Angeles, that is nothing compared to playoff baseball in Philadelphia.
Playing in LA is like playing in a city park where people just stroll in. Oh, there's a baseball game going on. It is not about the people in Philadelphia. They mortgage your homes for Eagles tickets, for Phillies tickets. In LA, they show up in the 3rd and leave in the 7th. That is not a hostile place to play. It sucks to play there just because it's LA. But it's not a place where you go, oh, the fans are going to be. No, Philadelphia will bring these guys to their knees, or you'll find out right away that the crowd ain't going to affect them. But I honestly believe this team is so young coming into this hostile environment. I just don't, with the lineup swinging the bat the way it is right now, and you talk about Gallen and their starting pitching, it ain't better than the Braves starting pitcher. And Spencer Strider, I'm sorry, but the Philly fans brought him to his knees, along with Nick Castellanos and Turner. But Turner was 0 for 17 off this dude, and then goes 4 for 4.
Yeah.
Baseball is a weird sport, right? You can throw it all away. We were talking before you even got on Chrome, and Gal's splits are big time difference, right? There's a big time difference to him pitching on the road and him pitching at home for whatever reasons, right? There's really no reason behind it. Sometimes it just happens. Well, his road, I feel like he's got over a 4 earned run average on the road. He's not pitched great at Citizens Bank Park through his career. He just hasn't, right? But he's amped up. And if there's a guy in baseball that controls all 5 pitches as well as Zac Gallen, let me know who that is, right? So if there's a guy to keep this lineup off balance, if there's a guy who can create problems for this lineup, it's him. It really is. That's why game one's so important, because the last thing you want is lose game one. Now, he's going to throw again in Arizona, where he's thrown extremely well. You just don't want to set that up for them. You don't want to put it on a tee for them, right? I think as rotations get deeper, where you go Ranger, or if you go Walker or Sanchez, however you go in that game 4 is we'll find out. But as the rotation gets deeper, it's strength goes Philly side. All right, in my opinion, they're not as deep rotation wise as us. They're just not. They got a 2-headed monster, and after that, they go to a rookie, I believe, in game 3 against a guy who's calm and collective all the time in Ranger Suarez. So they don't match up after game 1 and game 2 as well as we do with them. That's why game 1 and game 2 are so important. Not only is it in Philadelphia, right? But you got to, and I say steal, because you can't split this. There's got to be 2-0 going back to Arizona. And if it's not, I got a little concern. I do, because now you're, like Mitch said, now you're giving them the hope and the confidence, which is the last thing you want to give them. I'm not telling you got to come out and blow them out, but these are two games you got to find ways to win, right? And you got to carry over it. And I'll never bet against this lineup or this team. I mean, they are built for these moments, right? And I don't say that. I say that meaning it. Like, you can usually, that's like, fan talk, but this team is built for these moments, and they proved it throughout the last 2 years.
Tommy, I got to say something just about the Philly fans. The thing that just impresses me so much about Castellanos, Turner, Harper, these are all guys you went out and paid big money for. Schwarber paid big money for. Every one of them had the opportunity to just curl up and die. What Philly fans do, they expose the character, the people they bring in to play for this team. And all of those guys could have just folded. Castellanos, Turner, and Harper, right now the baseball looks like a volleyball to them. It doesn't matter how hard you're throwing it. Castellanos hit a slider out, a fastball out. He was just mangling that pitching staff. And that's your 7-hole hitter. That's the thing that I look at it, and I couldn't believe Rob moved him down that low, but all he's done is excel down there.
Yeah,
so props to all those guys for showing what kind of character they truly have.
Yeah,
and Hoffman said it the best real quick, he said, our superstars are just regular guys.
Yep.
So when you have that, and because everybody follows the leader in pro sports, nobody's more adamant about that than me. When your leaders are grinders and lunch pail guys, everybody else follows suit. When your leaders are prima donnas, your leaders are too big time for other people, guess what happens? You start getting divides. Now, everybody celebrates together in a locker room, but what I watch with this team celebrates is like, man, I mean, they're all celebrating together. Where you watch like Yankees bench in the past,
Look at the bench when someone hits a home run and they're all standing there doing. Every one of them is on that rail. There's nobody sitting on the bench. They're all standing on that rail. This team, like Thomas said, was built to do exactly what it's doing right now.
Yeah, and the thing too with this team, right? And it's why I think I just think there's something special about them. They actually kind of remind me a lot of the '93 Phillies, and that there's a lot of selflessness here, right? You talk about Bryce going out and talking about other guys and their big moments. You have Castellanos on there, first player in Major League history have back-to-back multi-home run games.
What's the question? What's the question? I mean, maybe the greatest answer of all time.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you may have wanted to know that. And he's like, oh, okay. Thanks for telling me. We got 8 more to go. Like, immediately, it's great. Individual accolades, whatever, this and that. This is the mindset. This is the team. They are going to go out and win. We're going to celebrate the successes of everybody else around us. And it reminds me so much of that '93 Phillies team, because there was just a camaraderie and a selflessness between you guys that
the similarity, Chrome. Excuse me. The similarity, Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll point it out, was when Harper got doubled up on that ball in game 2 to end the game, and the shortstop from Atlanta popped off after the game about Harper. You don't kick the bear in Philadelphia. You keep your mouth shut. Don't ever give someone added incentive to want to kick your ass. And the stare that Harper put on him after those 2 home runs in game 3, that's what's all about. You don't let somebody talk trash about you and not pay them back. And that's exactly what Harper did.
I've never seen, listen, Mitch, you've been around the game forever too, right? But like, I've never seen a guy in these moments slow the game down like he does. I've never seen it. You see it in other sports, etc., right? It's different. But in baseball, like, go do that. Like, the one thing for a guy to talk trash, right? There's another thing for you to go hit a ball that doesn't land yet. It's easier said than done. Sometimes guys talk trash, and guys, they want to hit a ball 580, right? And then they don't, right? But for him to like stay inside himself is what's truly special. And this whole lineup, I've never seen a lineup like this that just the way they mash you, the way they grind you out. Like, it's
think
special.
About it, Tommy. What were we bashing this lineup for early in the year? They're 20th in home runs. Well, I work with a guy in Jersey that is a Atlanta Braves fan. We went to the game with a customer the night the Braves clinched, and this guy is standing up cheering, "Go Braves!" And I said, "Dude, it does not matter. They can have the division. They still lost to them in the playoffs last year. It's going to happen again this year because there's an old saying in Texas: a horse shit quick, don't shit long." And that's exactly what happened to the Braves.
It's great. That's great. And you know what? Like, I love my Eagles, right? And everybody does in Philly, but like something about the emotion that comes out of you as an adult, right? When you're watching these guys celebrate after the game, or you're watching Nicky hit that first home run or the second home run, and the emotion that comes, the chills, right? It's like hard to explain, but the chills. And I'm 41 years old. I'm still getting the same chills I was getting back in 93, right? There's something about postseason baseball here in Philadelphia that is just different. It's just different. It brings out the emotion of you and a fan. And I don't get that with the Eagles, right? Like, I get pissed. I get frustrated. I get excited, right? When they won a Super Bowl, it was a great moment, right? But there's something different the way baseball hits me, and it always has. And there's just something about it. That's why I love this sport, right? The watch these guys have those types of moments, yep. Right? And then talk about their teammates, right? They don't even talk about themselves, you know. And Nick's a legend. I mean, Nick is a legend. Nick is everything that we want in an athlete in Philadelphia. He's a guy who was getting ran out of here last year. He never took it in the field with him, right? Was getting ran out of town. And to have the response of his season that he has goes to show you the character. The character. Dave Dombrowski deserves a ton of credit. It's one thing to go spend money. It's one thing to have an open checkbook. It's another thing to nail it. And you're watching another team do it that's still playing too in the Texas Rangers. There's one thing to go out and spend money, and there's another thing to go out and spend money and nail it and absolutely crush it and bring guys in that are like
fit in Philly.
Yes, the toughness of the city. Like, you got all selfless guys here, right? It's amazing. And nobody was more critical in his career of Bryce Harper than Tom Arnone. There was nobody. Maybe because he was in Washington and I had to hate him, right? Maybe that's the reason. I had to hate him because of where he played at, right? And when we first signed him, you know, I was jacked up about it, obviously, Chrome, right? But I had some questions that still need to be answered about what kind of teammate he is. Hold my beer. You know, here's your answer, Tom. You got it over the last 2 years. You got it. And thank you for shoving that up my ass, Bryce. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well,
love being wrong.
And I know we're going to take a break in a second, but I just want to add this in here. And I know we've kind of touched on this before, but when you go back from a distance, first of all, benefit of the doubt went away for Bryce because he came out with Trout. He was the heel. He was the villain. There's always going to be, when you're going to be compared to that guy, you're going to be the guy who people are going to say, no, I want that guy.
To hate him.
Correct. Exactly. There's nobody that's going to come out and be more loved than Trout, right? So everybody's you have to pick one side or the other. That's the world we live in, right? So immediately everybody gravitates to Trout. And because Bryce was a very enthusiastic young guy who would run through a wall, people would take that emotion the wrong way. And the second thing, at the time, I've said this a million times and you know it, a lot of things were based off of that incident with Papelbon, who we know is not exactly
I would have loved to have seen Bryce just stomp his ass in that dugout that night. And if push came to shove, that's exactly what would have happened.
Mitch, I mean, Jonathan Papelbon is not exactly the moral compass of how to or not to act on a field in front of fans and with your teammates. Let's be honest.
No, he's not. He's not one of the guys that you look at and go, oh, that's who I want my kid to model himself.
That's right. Yeah.
Bryce,
he really.
I could honestly say, if I was telling my kid, you want to play the game the right way, watch Bryce Harper play the game of baseball. Yep. That's how it's supposed to be played. I had the opportunity to talk to Bryce early in his career in Washington. He had been hurt a couple of times from running into the outfield wall. And I told him, I said, dude, the outfield wall is undefeated. I said, your pitchers love the fact that you're willing to do that, but they would much rather have you in the lineup every single day. And he's just gotten smarter as he's gotten older. He hasn't lost 1 ounce of his aggressiveness. And that's what I love about him. How long has he been in the league now? 10 years?
12.
12 years. He still plays the game like a 19-year-old kid. And that's something you can't teach. That is just born into you. A refusal to quit, a refusal to not try and win. And that's what they got in Bryce.
And they got the same thing in Trey, right? Again, it's easy to go spend the money. You watch a guy flat out stunk out loud for months on end at the beginning of the season. And, and I know some people laughed at it, and that's fine, but the players talk about it. That standing ovation, because JT talked about it yesterday. He goes, when we got a guy like that struggling, we all feel it, right? When he's getting booed, we all feel it. When they gave him a standing up after the struggles he was going through, he said, in this clubhouse, we all felt that. We felt a weight lifted, right? Yep. And we don't give ourselves enough credit sometimes. And this one we have to, okay? Because we changed the course of a guy's season here, and we changed the course of a contract here. And all it took was a standing O to say, hey, we got your back, man. For 10 years, we got your back. And the rest is history because the guy has been unconscious since that standing up. I mean, he's been the best. He's arguably been the best hitter in baseball.
I think he's 345 since then. And the thing about it, Philadelphia fans, they will either crush you or make you the best player you can possibly be. And I can speak to that from a personal standpoint because I had my best years in Philadelphia because I knew what they expected. And let me just say this. Adversity does not build character. It reveals it. And that's exactly what has happened with all of these guys. Schwarber, Castellanos, Turner, Harper, look at what they've done since they've come to this city. And all of them they all got booed. Every one of them got booed. But if you understand, they're not booing you. They're booing your performance. And guys that take that shit personally are the guys that don't last in Philadelphia. It's just that simple. If you lie to yourself in Philadelphia, the fans in Philly will bury you. If you come off the field and think, I did okay, I gave up 6 runs. No, you sucked. As long as you're the first one to say you suck, you'll get along just fine in Philadelphia.
No, and to your point, too, Kyle Schwarber has been through this before because for all intents and purposes, they ran him out of town in Chicago. They couldn't get rid of him fast enough because he had a great rookie year, first year and a half, and then he was, he struggled, which in turn, we've kind of seen what he's become, right? He was never going to be a 280 hitter or
no,
he's barely a 200 hitter, but he went to Boston and he's played in these other places and he became a guy who is patient at the plate, but man, he's going to give you some big ass swings when you need him at some of the most crucial times. And he's a run producer and he's a long ball hitter.
In that Braves series, what happened? Schwarber didn't have a good series. Did the other three pick his ass up? Yep. That's what a baseball team is. Agreed. It's not one guy. It's the entire team. I mean, to Marsh all the way down the lineup, these guys find a way to pick each other up, and that's what's important.
Agreed.
No, it is. It is. It really is. I mean, they've done a great job of that all year. And, man, I just – like somebody said, Bill said, Dombrowski bringing up Rojas, right, and giving him a chance in center. It's those little types of moves that – you're willing because the kid's that elite defensively that you're willing to take the bat out of it and not worry about it and say, just go track every ball that's it to you. And he's been tremendous.
We've got 8 guys in that lineup right now that are big league hitters. Rojas is getting there. And I was saying to Tom before we came on air, if I'm the manager of that team, come spring training, Rojas is going to learn to bunt for an hour a day. Because if this guy learns to get a bunt down, now you have your guy because he plays immaculate defense. Put him in a situation where he can bunt guys over, bunt for a base hit. He's got speed. He just needs to learn how to bunt because he doesn't have a clue how to bunt right now. And I'm not worried about it because of the defense he's playing. But come next spring, that's exactly what I'd be doing with him.
Yeah, I agree. I do think those 2 guys, Schwarbs and Alec Bohm, are really important to this series, right? There's 2 guys that I look at and say, hey, I need those guys to get going because I can't expect those other – I mean, I'm not going to bet against them, but I can't expect those other 3 to stay as hot as they are, right? So, I'm going to need those other 2 guys to start finding.
And they will.
Yep.
Those 2 guys, the rest of the line, Schwarber and Bohm, they will get it going. That Braves pitching staff is no joke. I mean, Spencer Strider, as much as I want to make fun of him thank God he got rid of that goofy mustache. But this kid has got a real deal shit. I'm not kidding you. That fastball and that slider, that's not an easy AB for anybody. It just, There was a Castellanos and Turner made it look easy, but it ain't easy.
No, he pitched well the other night. I mean, in all intents and purposes, that was a pitching matchup right there. That
Yeah.
was a pitching duel, and Wheeler. I mean, Wheeler was rolling the other night. I mean, these two pitchers, top pitchers for the Phillies right now, man. If they're clicking on all
Yeah.
cylinders the rest of the way, boy, I don't want to face this pitching staff.
And
But
I got to do something right now because we have worn his ass out all year long with question marks. Aaron Nola pitched his ass off the other night,
mhm.
and I got to give him props. He made the adjustments he had to make, and he put down. What did I say, Chrome, last week? The key to the series was. You remember?
It would Arenol's performance.
No, keeping
Consistency?
Acuna off the base paths.
Oh, right. Yes. That's obviously right for Lenny. Yep.
I only remember him having 2 hits in that series. And,
Yeah,
that anytime you shut a guy like that down, it completely demoralizes the rest of the lineup other than Riley.
Yeah, it was everybody else behind him, right? Riley, he hit well. Darno hit pretty well in this series, but overall, right, Albies and all these other guys who were typically kind of the catalyst where Acuna sets the table and all these other guys start to kind of fall in line. You take him out of the equation, which is what they did. To your point, all these other guys had to now they're facing tougher at bats because you're not worried about having pitching with guys on base to where you can have those moments and be a little more pick and choosy with your pitch selection. Obviously with nobody on base, so they were able to pitch to them and a lot more with a lot more of an open bag, and I think that was really big. Kept them on their heels.
I'm not sure that people give Albies enough credit.
He's a good player.
That dude is a very, very good baseball player.
That is
and
a
what
great player.
Ranger did to him the other night, I don't know that I've ever seen this in my entire career. His first and second at bat looked like a replay where Ranger got him out in front and popped him up twice to stop. It looked like a replay. This is what this pitching staff is putting together right now. They're figuring out exactly how to get these guys out and control bat speed. And if they do that, that's what the key to this series is going to be, because all those young kids in Arizona are going to be jacked up like you would not believe. The best pitch against a team like that is a changeup. A changeup, get them on their front foot, control that bat speed, and frustrate them. And as soon as you start to frustrate a young kid, it starts to snowball. And it'll snowball from 1 to 9.
I just can't believe, going backwards for a second, when you talk about Acuna and you talk about, he scores that run to make it 4-1 in game 2, and then bang, the Braves wake up, right? Just like that. Just like that. That's how important he is to what they do, right? And, after that game, I had so many flashbacks, and I'm like, man, I feel like you just coughed the series away, right? Like, internally, I'm like, man, I'm interested to see how you respond game 3, right? Because you just let him off the hook. That's how I took game 2, is you let him off the hook with your ace on the mound. How do we respond? And, again, another hold my beer Tom moment where wrong again, because I'm going to show you how we respond. We come home and we take 2, right? And we're down. Because my biggest thing was you can now not get down in game 3 early. Down 1-0. Nick comes up, ties it at 1. Everything relaxes, ball game. And that just goes again to the resiliency and the mental toughness of this entire roster. And it goes to Robbie. I mean, Rob deserves a lot of credit for this, right? Every button he's pushing this series has worked again, all right? Every button he pushed, and who am I to sit here and argue with his decisions anymore, right? I mean, because it's worked for 2 straight years, right? His calm approach to these guys, right? Yep. All this stuff that, we may not see. It's truly amazing that they're able to lose a game like that, the way they lost it. And you're able to rear view it, right? I tell my kids all the time, if I had a time machine, guys, I'd be Jeff Bezos. We don't. We have what's up next. And for Nick to say after that loss is, we thrive when we get punched in the face.
Yeah, that's a Philly mentality. That's a Philly mentality. You're going to have to beat my ass every single day. And that's how they're approaching it. And nothing for nothing, that Braves team's a good baseball team.
They're not bad.
But when you look at this Phillies team, like I've said, from the time they got close to the wild card, nobody wants to play this team. And I mean nobody. There ain't a pitching staff alive wants to face this lineup.
No.
Yeah. I mean, that absolutely. And then we always talk about it, built for the playoffs, right? And not even that. I don't know if you really want to go against the back end of this bullpen either. And I love to talk about the bullpen's performance on the other side. Rolling in, we're going to step away for a few minutes, show some love to our sponsors, Royal Billiard, Carlino's, which love them, hats.com, RTC. Little love to them. We'll come back on the other side. We'll continue with previewing the NLCS between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Stay with us.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat John. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
Mitch Williams here. If your company ships freight, join my winning team at Raymond Transportation Corporation. Let us become part of your team. RTC has been serving shippers nationwide for 26 years. With 10 terminals located throughout the U.S., volume LTL, small LTL, truckload, and rail. You can count on RTC to be the closer you need. I know firsthand that the Delaware Valley demands accountability. Call me at 800-206-3983 to schedule a meeting. Give me one shipment, and we will earn the rest. Mitch Williams.
All right, we are back. We're back to Here's the Thing.
I can tell you this.
Tom Arnone.
Hats.com is intelligent marketing-wise. Even if I didn't like that big hay haul and some bitch's hat, I'd tell him how pretty it was.
Welcome back, guys. I had to do a little scene change over.
I did too. I was sweating.
I had to rotate around my headset dial. I was trying to get the other ones to work before we came back. That didn't work, but that's all right. But we're here. We're talking NLCS. We were just kind of going through the pitching staff, but I'm curious, guys, particularly with Rob Thompson's Topper's use of the bullpen, was very interesting. But he seemed to pull for the most part. He pulled all the right buttons, hit all the right buttons, and put guys in the right situation. Particularly that last game, bringing Alvarado in to do multiple innings. He had Kimbrel in there early on. You know, they basically. I did enjoy in the commentary. I can't remember who made the point, but basically said that Topper was treating that game as whether you close it in the 9th or you close it in the 7th. He took that situation in a game that they felt like they must win, and he put his closer in what he felt like was the highest leverage position in the game. And I have to agree with that. I mean, I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on the use of the bullpen, particularly coming out of Game 5. By Rob Thompson there.
I can tell you this, there's no way I would have done what he did. The questions he would have had to answer after that game, had they blown it in the 9th, that's just something as a manager, you don't want to have to answer those questions. But I'll give him credit because he's got a sack full of nuts. There's no way I could have done that and put my 2 closers in the 6th and 7th inning. Because the back end of the game, that's a Braves lineup that can do damage late, and they've shown they can do damage late. So I would have wanted to save one of my closers for the 9th. But how can you argue with it? Hindsight's 20/20. You look back on it, I'm still going to say I never would have done it, but Topper did it, and he's in the NLCS for the 2nd year in a row.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, definitely not conventional in any of the games. I'm sitting here going, wait, we're going guys in the 5th inning? Like,
Yeah.
really? But I mean, credit to him. And then he goes with the kid in game 1. I think it was when he went the Orion in game 1.
Yeah.
Right. And in the set to do that and the trust you have. I mean,
who does Orion remind you of from a mannerism standpoint? He's Ranger Suarez up and down. The kid shows nothing on the mound. Makes a good pitch, big deal. Makes a bad pitch, big deal. Give me the ball back. I'm going to try and make another one. That's the kind of guy you want in your foxhole with you. He's not going to panic. And this kid's got ice in his veins.
Oh, it really does. I mean, it really does. It's hard. I mean, that's hard. That's hard. You were just in single A earlier in the year.
Exactly.
Right. And to be able to come up here and pitch in these types of spots and fill the zone up the way he has. And then, like you said, to stay under control. Right. And
he didn't try and overthrow. And that's the biggest thing when you get to the postseason like this. And he has the ability to throw 97, 98. He didn't try and overthrow. He stayed with what got him where he is right now. And that's a testament to him and his character and his belief in his stuff.
Yeah, because when he walked the guy the following inning, if you guys remember, it's just because he sat forever. In between innings in game 1, he sat for a while, and you could sort of feel that coming. When guys sit around for a long time, he just couldn't locate, and then obviously they went to the bullpen after that. But besides that, he's been tremendous. His whole bullpen's been tremendous.
He's a great bridge guy right now. If they got a lead in the 5th inning, I wouldn't hesitate to put him out there to bridge the gap between the guys at the back end. He's shown he can handle it. And pressure obviously doesn't bother him. Because I can tell you right now, if they'd have brought me up from A ball into a playoff situation, you wouldn't have been able to drive a grease needle up my ass with a 10-pound sledgehammer.
Oh, man. But no, I mean, listen, what a job done bullpen-wise. And obviously, Strahm, I thought, came in, you have moments where you kind of fall into a little bit of trouble at certain points, but they pitched out of trouble. There were some walks there that got me a little bit nervous, obviously, and that play by Rojas cannot be understated. There are not many players in Major League Baseball that can go out there and make that center field catch that he made in that last series. Some really tremendous defensive plays.
Trey Turner looked like a world beater at shortstop in this series.
Well,
this is what in that last game. That's the Trey Turner we thought we were getting at shortstop.
Well,
and you cannot tell me that he wasn't taking his at-bats in the field earlier in the year.
Well, it was really inconsistent, though, right? We saw some moments in this series that he booted balls.
Well, in game 2, that was a big part of it.
Right.
But to rebound the way he has, to me, it's a testament to what he is.
Yeah, you saw some real big defensive moments, though, from Trey, from Rojas, some of these guys that you look back and you're like, man, those can be some of those moments that live in a highlight reel for the next 100 years for the Philadelphia Phillies when they talk about this team, man. It's really, really interesting to see. So, key to the series here, guys. Let's talk about going forward. First and foremost, let's go offensively here. Okay, we've kind of analyzed what we've seen. We saw certain guys. We even saw JT at certain moments. I still think he kind of goes in and out of it, but he had some big moments situationally hitting in this series. So are we expecting more of the same? Is this going to be, like tonight, like I said, we got a right-hander going. I expect the left-handed hitters in this lineup to come up really big tonight. But what are you guys expecting from the offense?
I expect the same thing. Obviously you can't expect 6 home runs in a game, but if they just keep doing what they're doing, I think the key to this whole series is the Phillies scoring first. If they score first, then you got a bunch of young kids over there that could push the panic button and start trying to do too much. And that's exactly what the Phillies want to happen. They want those kids to, oh God, we're behind. And now they're going to they're going to get outside themselves and try and do more than they're capable of. And they're going to end up dragging their bat back to the dugout or making a lot of right turns. And that's what the Phillies have to have happen. They got to score first.
It's funny you say that, though, Mitch. Even going back to last year in the playoffs,
you can't expect 6 home runs in every game, but it feels like every series they have a game where the bats just go off for 4 or 5 home runs, where this team just lights up the scoreboard. And I think that there's an opportunity here with this pitching staff that they could do that. If they can get to Gallen and some of these guys, like you guys said early, they could definitely put up a lot of crooked numbers in this series.
Well, that and the other thing it does, when they score first, our starters get to relax a little bit. Go out there and, okay, I got a lead. Now I just have to execute pitches. You don't have to worry about making a mistake. Go out there and execute your pitches because you already got the lead. It's much easier to pitch with a lead than it is when you're behind because hitters get way more selective when they're ahead.
No, it's true. It's true. I think that's like the biggest thing in this series is getting off to a fast start. Key wise, I'm going to look at Alec Bohm. I'm going to look at Alec and, I'm going to look at JT, right? 2 guys. If you remember, Torey Lovello and JT sort of went at it earlier on in the year down in Arizona, right? I didn't forget. So I'm going to assume JT didn't forget.
You can
right?
guarantee he didn't forget.
Torey's done a great job down there, but we're
Yes,
looking for some motivation. We're looking for some extra things. Good. I think JT uses it to series. I think JT is your NLCS MVP.
I'm not going to go that far.
I think we need him to be, just because the way bats work, right? Like I can't expect Nick, Trey, and Bryce to be as hot as a pistol like they've been. I got to expect there's some ebb and flow that goes on here. Could be wrong, fine, but I'm gonna look at JT, Alec, and Schwartz and say, well, this one's your series. This one is where I need you 3 to really bring it. So I'll just go on a limb just for a fun prediction and say, JT is my NLCS MVP. I think he has a monster series, and I'm hoping for him. I'm trying to root it in a little bit here.
What are the chances? If I told you that the Phillies were going to hit 6 home runs in a playoff game and Schwarber wouldn't have any of them, I wouldn't think that'd be possible.
Shocking.
This is a guy, and Schwarber, the great thing about him is he didn't have a good series. But look at how everyone behind him performed. Okay, Schwarber isn't going good. We got to pick up the slack. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, too, right? I mean, when you saw Rojas sitting in the 9 spot, after that first at-bat, first time through the lineup, he kind of becomes a guy who at this point now he's in a run-producing spot. So some of these guys at the bottom of the lineup, whether it's Marsh, whether it's Rojas, they're going to see some pitches and be able to get on base in front of them, too.
And you just can't throw your glove out there against that bottom half of that lineup.
Nope.
Marsh is swinging the bat very well right now.
He is. Situationally, too. He's getting on base at big moments in the game. I think the bottom of that lineup has done a really good job to pick up a little bit of Schwarber's, spot as well, because you're not going multiple spots through the lineup where you're missing out here. Is that who we got over there, Mitch?
My dang cat just walked into my office. Go on, cat. Now she's tipping stuff over.
Uh-oh.
Sorry about
real
that,
quick, Crum. I want to give this read to Carlino's. They're celebrating 40 years this month. For 40 years, Carlino has shared family recipes, tradition, and love with their customers. Carlino's was started by Mama Carlino and her husband Nikolai in 1983. So they're celebrating 40 years. Go check out Carlino's Market. They have 2 locations, one in Ardmore, PA, and one in Westchester. So go check out Carlino's Market. You'll love the food. It's delicious. Promise you that. And also want to give a shout out to hats.com. You can use code Philly for 15% off your order at hats.com. So go check out all the hats they have to offer and make sure you use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
Yeah, and don't forget either, Thursday, head on over to Royal Billiards. Go check out, do some stuff there. Maybe upgrade your man cave or whatever you got.
Got to have a man cave for the World Series, people.
I'm telling you, really a good chance here to really upgrade your room into something special, a real special experience for you and any guests that you have over. And by the way, you can meet Hollis, Thomas, and Irving Fryer because they're going to be doing their live show of Vetted at 5 p.m. Over there in Colmar, Pennsylvania. So make sure you guys stop by, check them out. Check them out online, royalbilliard.com. So pitching-wise, guys. So did we say who we think the number 4 starter is going to be? I think we're pretty clear on that, right?
I would almost guarantee it's going to be Walker.
I would assume it's Walker. Yeah.
And that to me is a good matchup because of that split. If he can get those young hitters out on their front foot, that could be a big plus for the Phillies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to be Michael Lorenzen, that's for sure. So, we'll see. I think
I don't think there's any doubt it's Walker.
No, I don't think so either. Clearly, though, with their 1 through 3, including Ranger with the way he's pitched at this point, there's a real opportunity here to shut this down pretty quick. I agree with you guys. I don't think this series is a short series by any means. I got the Phillies in 6. I don't know if it goes 7. Would not shock me if it goes 7 because, again, this team can rake.
They might be able to rake, but I'm betting everything on the fact that they're so young, and I think our pitchers are going to be able to control their bat speed and frustrate them. I don't think this thing goes beyond 5.
Well, I just think game 1 is, kind of what we said at the beginning of the show, right? People think, how can game 1 be so important? Because it's at home with a team that doesn't have the playoff experience in front of the playoff crowd like this.
No.
Man, if you could set that tone early and send that message early and get to, we love gals, but if you get to Gallen early and really let them know that this team has come to hit, welcome to the show, boys.
And the other thing you got to look at when you look at Zac Gallen, I watched him get interviewed the other day, and they asked him, "Are you going to be watching the Braves Phillies game?" And he said, "Well, yeah, there ain't much else on TV." And he said, "And that and half my family's at the game right now."
Yeah.
So who are they going to be rooting for? Zach or their Phillies? That's a big question. Obviously going to be rooting for Zach, but when you come into Philadelphia, Zach knows what he's walking into. And that's why, honestly, Tom, I think that's why he hadn't had much success here. It is not an easy place to come in and pitch. Trust me, I've done it. It ain't all that much fun. I came in as a Cub. I came in as an Astro. And it wasn't a great, fun place to pitch until I got there. Then I loved it.
Yeah, and they're going to be all over them.
Yeah, they booed me as much when I was with the Cubs as they booed me when I was with the Phillies.
They're going to be all over them tonight. It's going to be loud. They got to get it out early. So this goes 2-3-2, correct?
Yeah.
2-3-2. So, next Monday, you got game 6, if necessary, game 7 Tuesday. So
I don't think I think this is going to be the only 2 games played in Philadelphia in this series. I really do. I think the Phillies end this thing in 5. That lineup right now, and I talk about confidence, youth and confidence being a very dangerous combination. Well, experience and confidence ain't a bad thing either. And that's exactly what the Phillies have. They have a bunch of guys that have already been to this dance. They know what to expect. They know what the music's going to be. They're going to go out there and do what they do. And the reason I say that is because of the leader they have in Harper. They all fall in line behind him. And you can't tell me that he hasn't had an effect on the rest of this lineup. Harper has proven time and time again, when you get to this time of year, all the people that are worried about his home runs, he had 5 home runs the beginning of August. He just didn't have his strength back yet. And now you're seeing what his strength has gotten back to. That ball he hit the other night, oh my gosh, that was crushed. That's one of those balls you yell, check that ball for tears.
I think when you look at Bryce, right, and now we're starting to build a body of work with playoff baseball and a very highly productive and successful body of work for Bryce Harper. I could make the argument if he gets that chip and he gets that ring, he could go down as one of, if not the best clutch situational hitter of his generation in the playoffs. And I'm putting it within like a 20, 25 year range of players, right? Maybe since like 2000. I mean, you haven't had a whole lot of teams. Like, I know it's a game of parity, right? Where you see teams who constantly win championships, right? And I know that Houston has won, they've been to 7 straight ALCSs at this point, which is remarkable. But a lot of theirs has been through pitching. I mean, they have hitting, but a lot of their success has been through pitching. When you talk about guys who year in and year out come up at some of the biggest moments and have hit some of the biggest, most meaningful hits in the playoffs over the last, like, say, the last 2 years alone. And Bryce is in a league of his own. And it's no disrespect to Nicky or anything, but I'm combining the last 2 years of monster hits in either clinching games or games where you can shift the momentum back in your favor. He has been the best player, in my opinion. Non-biased, non-Cardinals fan, or non-Phillies fan, best player in baseball in situational hitting in the playoffs in the last few years. Maybe
I got to respond to Marshawn Lynch here. Thoughts on Arcia jawing back to the fans at the bank. He really lost it, and we got to him bad. That's what can happen with younger guys. The worst thing you can do in Philadelphia is let them know you hear them. And that's one thing they're going to have to guard against with these Arizona kids. Lavello's going to have to get them in the clubhouse and say, look, you're going to hear shit in this series you've never heard before in your life. You better ignore it. Because if you acknowledge it, that means they got you.
It's so true.
It is true. And you know what? That's kind of another, in my opinion, that little clip with him going back and forth with the fans, you also kind of did see the leadership of Acuna there, who was kind of there like, dude, put his hand on his shoulder and was like, dude, turn around, pay attention.
I can say this. I have a completely different opinion of Acuna. That kid, I thought the series would be won or lost depending on how they pitched to him and kept him off base or not. The fact that he only got 2 hits, he still carried himself like an MVP. Every time he walked up there, every fan in that stadium, they might have been screaming, but in the back of their mind, they knew this is the guy. If they're going to beat us, this is the guy that's going to beat us. And props to the pitching staff. I'll tell you what, that ball that Rojas ran down, he swung at that ball. I honestly thought it was just a routine pop-up to left center. I couldn't believe that ball carried that far.
Inches. Right? A game of inches. You're inches away from that ball bouncing all around.
Yep.
Right? I mean, just when he first got it and you saw the angle of it, you're like, oh, my God, that's in the gap. That's in the gap. That's in the gap.
That's 3 runs. Yeah.
That's a triple all day long. All day long.
No, but I think people should lay off of the kid a little bit. We talked about before we came on, Mitch. He went back to Venezuela, and people were all over Twitter giving him crap because there was like a big celebration of obviously him coming home. And I don't think people understand that, like, you know, the guy's
their guy.
Yeah, he's a legend going home.
Yes.
To his home country after.
And he's going home as a National League MVP. The first 40-70 guy ever.
This is like, that's a case of like first world problems, right? Like, because of where we live, we don't understand what it's like when people go back to the Dominican Republic, why guys like David Ortiz and Carlos Beltran are revered and Albert Pujols as heroes.
David was until he wasn't, right. But yeah.
But I'm saying, like, a lot of these guys are like heroes. Like, it takes them, like, to get out of their situation that they're in. Like, they're going to be celebrated, and the people of their country should be able to do that because they represent a hope that we're given here more liberties than they are. So
most of these kids in Venezuela, when they start playing baseball, you know what their glove is? It's a milk carton.
Yeah.
This is what, I mean, I grew up dirt poor, but I always had a bat and a glove.
Mm-hmm.
These kids grow up dirt poor. They don't have food, much less a bat and a glove. So people here, any Braves fan that wants to give him any garbage about going home and celebrating, they don't know what that culture is all about. They're about cheering on their countrymen. And like I said, he's going home the MVP of the National League. Hands down. Not close.
He's a
well deserved
for them.
And well deserved.
Absolutely well deserved.
I mean, like, I hate to say it. My cousin's a huge Braves fan, and we talked obviously throughout the series. And I was like, man, like, I hate telling you this constantly, but I love so many of those players. Like, so many of them. I hate the Braves. Don't get me wrong, but like, my respect for the game is too big, right?
Yeah.
My respect to watch greatness is too big. As I've gotten older, I'm a big advocate on, like, man, try to enjoy greatness when it's around you. Try to enjoy it. Even if it's not on your team, just try to enjoy it. Try not to hate greatness so much, right? And
I don't want to like Spencer Strider, But
No,
God
only one.
almighty, you sure have to step back and go, that kid is impressive.
He was the only one
He
who
won
held himself
24
accountable.
games this year. Or no, he won 20 games. He's a 24-year-old kid that won 20 games and led the world in strikeouts. So you got to give them their props, regardless of whether or not you like them. There's nothing more ignorant than booing someone because they're good.
Yeah.
Unless you're talking about Barry Bonds, and I think you should boo him at all times.
Listen, I think it's okay to boo somebody when they're good because it is a lot of times looked at as a sign of respect. But when you're trolling somebody on social media and you take it to the next level because of their greatness that you have to hate them because they're on your rival team, in this case, like you're seeing with an Acuna, I think that's where it gives you a bad name. That's where it looks bad.
Philly fans are not stupid. They're going to do everything they can do to get under everybody's skin, but they're smart baseball fans. And trust me, the people in Philadelphia knew that was the one guy that could have sent the Phillies home.
No, absolutely. And then he almost did.
He damn near did.
Almost sent him back to Atlanta at least.
Yeah.
Last 4 minutes or so of the show here, guys. Anybody?
Cromer, can you end the show, or do you need me?
Not. I mean, we can wrap up now if you want. Just give. Just give.
If you guys are good, I'm sorry. I got to be in by 3, and I'm
good.
38 minutes away, and the school gets out. And if you don't get there by a certain time, you get stuck in the school line.
Yeah.
And then you can't get back there. It's a mess.
So
it's a mess.
So we'll just wrap it up here. So Tom says 7 games.
5 for me.
Mitch, you got 5. I have them at
I like
6.
Mitch's better.
Yeah, it would feel a lot better, right? Just real quick, just off the top of your head, who's winning the ALCS? I had them earlier, and I'm saying I think the Rangers win it this year.
Yeah, I'm Rangers Phillies.
Look, those are the 2 teams I played the longest with. They kept me around for 3 years apiece, so I'm going with the Rangers and the Phillies in the World Series.
Sweep across the board.
Me too. 2 teams that spent a lot of money. Right. On the right on the right thing, smart money, right? And Bochy never loses. So I mean that'd be a tremendous series.
Jordan Montgomery, massive pickup from St. Louis.
Yeah, he's stunk all year.
And Marcus Semien, I'll tell you what, dude. I said it to you guys before, I'll say it again. One of the most underrated superstar players. Look at his numbers, guys, because he was in Oakland.
Yeah,
nobody saw him.
Yeah,
superstar caliber player, multi-year all-star. That guy is what he was to me was the biggest pickup when they were assembling the lineup that they got, that it started turning corners with the young talent that they have already, and obviously Seager as well.
Yeah,
both teams built so similar.
Yep, it's going to be fun to watch. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So listen, guys, great show today. Appreciate everybody joining on. Appreciate all the comments, Jeffrey and friends.
Jeffrey. We're popping off. That's what's popping.
We are popping off, yes. We appreciate everything, guys. So make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow everywhere. And obviously love to our sponsors, Royal Billiards. Make sure you guys, if you're in the area, Comer, go check out Hollis and Irv for Vetted on Thursday, 5 to 6. And obviously Carlino's, 40 years, guys, they're celebrating. 2 locations, Ardmore, and where's the other one?
Westchester.
I've been to the Ardmore one. They are phenomenal people. The food is unbelievable. Please, guys, go check them out. And obviously, hats.com. Go get your hats there. And RTC.
If you need freight shipped anywhere, call us.
There it is.
We'll get it there on time and in the same shape it left the dock in.
Yeah. But we'll be back next Monday. We'll be talking maybe more NLCS. Maybe we're previewing a World Series. We'll see. But for Tom Arnone, for Mitch Williams, myself, Chrome, and everybody here at A2D Radio, love, appreciate you guys. Tell someone you love them, and have a great day. Go Phils.
Have a great week, people.